Hi, this is Parul Banka here. I am a coach and I coach terrific stories out of my clients. In this video, I want to share with you a short recipe for failure. Yes, you heard it right. I'm going to give you a short recipe for failure, which is something I learned from one of my mentors, Kim, who I believe is one of the greatest coaches I know of. Kim writes about this in her book, and it's a quote from Herbert Swope, who says, "I cannot give you the formula for success, but I can give you the formula for failure, which is try to please everybody." And that brings us to the topic for this video, people pleasing. In this video, I'm going to explore what people pleasing is, how does it show up in the behavior, where does it come from in the first place? Does it work? Does it help us gain what we are aiming to gain by indulging in this behavior? If yes, great, we'll look at that. If not, what can we do differently and how I can help you do behavior which actually serves you. So let's get started. People pleasing is behavior when we indulge in behavior just for the heck of it. It's not something we want to do. We are not coming from a space of authenticity. We don't feel true to ourselves. We are not coming from a space of love, but we want to still go ahead and do it. And there are some secondary gains that we are trying to get out of that behavior, and we'll come to those when we talk about where does this people pleasing behavior arise from. People pleasing is associated with passive behavior. So if you look at behavior, there is passive behavior, there is aggressive behavior, and in the middle is assertive behavior. This is where we want to be. We don't want to be passive, we don't want to be aggressive, we want to be assertive. So let's see how people pleasing behavior shows up when I say it is synonymous with passive behavior. So when somebody is indulging in passive behavior, they are almost always putting other people's feelings before their own. Hi Petri, hi Manish, great to have you guys here. So people pleasers are the people who put other people's feelings before their own. They are the people who typically get pushed around. They are the people who do not stand up for themselves. They are the people who even volunteer to go ahead and do things for others, even if they feel miserable about doing those things. Because if they don't, then they feel guilty about it. And because they feel guilty, they are always in a space of resentment. They are just not in a place where they want to be. Aggressive behavior is on the opposite end. These are the people who push other people around. These are the people who dominate. These are the people who raise their voices. These are the people who treat other people as doormats. And we don't want to be them as well. We want to be assertive people. And I'm going to give you some solid tips on how you can start doing that. So let's spend a couple of minutes understanding where does this people-pleasing behavior come from? Why would somebody do it in the first place? And they are obviously doing it even if they are feeling miserable about it. I would say the first reason where it comes from is their conditioning. This is how they have been brought up. It has been part of their maybe social conditioning, their cultural conditioning. Statistically, if you look at the people-pleasing behavior, women are more prone to do it because a lot of women are brought up with the idea that they've got to put needs of other people before their own needs. And when I say when we are talking about needs, catering to other people's needs or catering to our own needs, I'm not saying that we become egomaniac people who only think about ourselves. No, that's not the idea. We are talking about looking after ourselves. We are talking about looking after others. So the first reason why somebody would indulge in people-pleasing behavior is because that's how they have been conditioned. They have been told that it's a great idea to look after the needs of other people before their own needs. If there is somebody who had to work really hard for the approval of authority figures in their life while growing up, for example, their parents, their teachers, then these people also tend to become people pleasers. The second reason which often causes people pleasing behavior is fear of being alone. When somebody is indulging in people pleasing behavior, what they are essentially trying to get rid of is rejection. So what they think is, if I am nice to other people, then they will be nice to me. And I will become part of the community. I will belong, because we human beings, we like to belong. We like to connect. And the number 3 reason is, if I am nice to you, if I go out of my way to please you, then probably you will return the same behavior. I remember that there was a friend who was visiting me some time ago, and because of what was going on in her life, she was completely mad at someone she knew, somebody who she couldn't avoid or get rid of socially. And the only word that comes to my mind when I think about my friend's relationship with this person is rage. And so, because she was visiting London for the first time, we went out. I took her shopping, and went to Oxford Street, which is one of the very nice shopping areas in London. I took her to an upmarket luxury beauty products shop, and I explained to her, this is a really nice shop, and you can pick up things for yourself and for the people who are important to you, your family. So she looked around, she was really pleased to be there, and she reached for the most expensive product that was displayed on the shelf. And I said, oh, that's really nice. Who are you buying this for? Is it for yourself? And guess what? She talked about the person who she absolutely hates in real life. No, she wasn't crazy. Her expectation was that if I would go out of my way and do something nice for that person, probably the other person would return that behavior. And I so much wish I could tell you that's what happened, but it didn't, because people pleasing doesn't ever work out the way we want it to work out. It doesn't work out, and there's a big reason why it doesn't work out. It doesn't work out because when we tend to become people pleasers, when we indulge in people pleasing behavior, it compromises our integrity, because we don't want to do that in the first place. Whether it is somebody who's asked us to do something and we have said yes because we couldn't say a no, or whether we have volunteered, which is even worse. But in either situation, we didn't want to do it in the first place. So how we act is completely different to how we feel. And that makes us angry. That makes us resentful. That makes us unfulfilled. And the other people understand it as well. They pick up on the energy that we send out, because energy speaks louder than words. So we may not say that we are resenting when we are doing this for you, but we feel it and other people feel it, and it's one big mess. It doesn't help. People pleasing never ever helps. So what are some of the things that we can do to not do this kind of behavior which makes us miserable, resentful, and doesn't really help anyone involved in the equation? Well, there is an idea that I want you to consider, which is most of the things that we do or not do are a result of our conditioning. So when a baby is born into this world, they don't come with this idea of, let's say, thank yous, let's say, pleases. These are the things that are considered appropriate for, let's say, the world we live in. These are the things which are wrong, which are right. And so it applies to our behavior as well. People pleasing is an acquired behavior because of certain reasons. it is part of the story that has been taught to us, or it is part of the story that we have acquired. Hi, Ralph, good to have you here. It is a part of the story that either somebody gave to us and we started owning it, or it is part of the story that we gave to ourselves, which is exactly where the power lies. It is just a story, which means that you and I can become aware of the behavior we are indulging in and consciously work towards changing it. And that's what brings me to what we can do to not indulge in people-pleasing behavior. So what are some of the things that you can do? Hi, Rishi, good to have you here. Thanks for joining in. The first thing that you can do to not indulge in people-pleasing is learning to say no. Learning to say no. Now, you don't have to say no to the biggest thing that has happened or the most critical, let's say, business deal. You've got to start learning to say no with smaller things in life. For example, let's say it is Sunday afternoon, and what you really want to do is spend time at home, catching up on sleep. You want to have a nice afternoon siesta, but your partner actually wants to go out. They want to go shopping or they want to see some friends. And one of the things that you can say and do to look after your own needs is say no. Yes, Ralph. Ralph, thanks for checking in. Ralph is asking me if it's okay to share this video in his own group. Yes, Ralph, go ahead. Thank you. So yes, go ahead and say no. And when I say no, it is because I want you to look after your own needs. And as I was saying before, when we look after our own needs, it doesn't mean that we are crazy, egomaniacal people who are selfish. No, that's not the point. But we are also valuing our own needs, because when we don't do that, that makes us angry, that makes us resentful. It doesn't help anyone. So instead of going out and seeing friends and going out shopping when you actually want to be tucked in your bed and you want to have a rest because you probably have a busy week ahead, or maybe that's just you want to do, it's okay to say no. The second idea that I can give you is learning to set some boundaries. Oh, what's that? Let's go back to the same example. So you want to stay at home on Sunday afternoon, have a nap to catch up on rest, but your partner wants to actually go out, see some friends. They have a lovely plan. They want to go shopping, then they probably want to catch up with some friends. They want to watch the latest flick, the latest movie that your local cinema is showing, and then they want to take you out for an amazing fine dining experience. But that's not what you want. What you want to do is stay home and fill in your reserves for the busy week ahead. So what you can do is, instead of saying no to everything that they are suggesting, you can say, what we are going to do is, we are going to go out and finish shopping. But after that, I want to come back. I want to have a rest. Or you can do the other way around. So I'm going to have a rest for half an hour, a power nap, catch up on some rest to gain my energy back, and then we will go out. So you can look after their needs and you can still look after your needs. But if you don't look after yourself and you go out for that shopping experience, seeing those friends, watch that movie, you would just be so miserable and you will resent it. And it won't work out because you wouldn't really enjoy doing it. So you will be miserable, and because you won't be enjoying, it will not even work out for your partner because you will be miserable. Does that make sense? I hope it does. So learn to say no, learn to set in boundaries. And this is where I come to my final tip for today. Learn to have some me time. I want to share with you a little experience that I went through. We had some friends visiting us here in London, and it was their first visit as well. And the plan for the day was that they would go out and do some touristy bits, go on for some sightseeing. And while they were packing their bags, while they were packing their backpack for the day travel, I suggested to them, why don't you carry some fruits? I had bought some apples the day before, and I said, why don't you carry some apples? And so one of them, the mom and the wife, she said, oh, we can't do that. Why can't you do that? Oh, because my boys, the husband and the son, they don't like apples. They don't eat apples. And so my question to her was, what about you? What about me? What about you? Do you like apples? She said, oh yeah, I love apples. And I said to her, why don't you carry an apple for yourself? You wouldn't believe there was pin drop silence in the room for the next 5 seconds, because it was a new idea to this person that if her family didn't eat a particular thing, didn't eat a particular fruit, then that shouldn't really stop her from enjoying that fruit. And so after that pause of about 5 seconds, she said, all right, I'll have an apple. And so off I went, fetched an apple from the fridge, gave to her, and they went out for their day trip. Later that night, when we were catching up, I said, did you manage to eat your apple? Did you enjoy it? And she said, oh, I really enjoyed my apple, because that's something I did after such a long time. And here's the thing. My evaluation of the situation is, my interpretation of the situation is that it wasn't the apple that gave her so much pleasure, but it was actually looking after her own needs, valuing her own needs, because she gave herself permission to enjoy a fruit which rest of the people in her family don't enjoy. And that is really powerful. And that is why when you are learning consciously to not indulge in people-pleasing behavior, you can start with small things. Have some me time. Pick up a book and read. Look after yourself. Have a massage. Pick up the phone and talk to a friend. Do something that makes your heart sing. It could be singing, it could be dancing, it could be putting a nice meal together because you want to do it, not because you have to do it. Going for a walk in the garden. Have something or do something which makes you happy. Because you know why? Making yourself happy is absolutely okay. That doesn't make you selfish. That doesn't make you a mean person. So these were 3 main tips. Learn to say no. Learn to establish boundaries. And learn to have some me time. So I hope this was useful as far as learning how to identify people-pleasing behavior was concerned. Also learning why we do this behavior, if it makes us feel miserable, and what are some of the things that we can do to not do this. If this is something that you need help, I would be delighted to help you out. This is one of the things that we look at when we coach people, because it is behaviors like this, it is traps like this that prevent us from doing what we really want to do and what really makes us happy. So if that is something you need help with, get in touch and I would love to help you out. My contact details are in the comments below. I'll speak to you soon with a new video. Until then, take care, stay awesome. Bye.